Cardinal Coffee. We thought it'd be fun, since we're done framing, to give you guys a quick review of the big 3 cordless nail guns that we've been using, because they're like the biggest thing we're using besides the saw. They're the main tool, but we're putting them away after today for the most part. Yep. Jamie's on the spot here. All right. We got the Dewalt, the Milwaukee, and the Paslode. What do you think?
Get some popcorn. We're going to be talking for a while. No, just kidding. All right, Dewalt. Let's do big picture. Okay. I like the Dewalt. I would buy the Dewalt. Battery power only. It shoots rapid fire like that. The reload mechanism's a little bit, I don't know, plasticky, and the rafter hook is not the most confidence inspiring, but overall I like it. I would buy it.
What's the main problem it has?
It jams sometimes. It'll like bend a nail over, and then it's stuck to the board, and you're doing that.
I wanted to get that in there.
Nobody
Other
likes
than
to
that,
do that.
It's not bad.
I like it. I would recommend it still. The Milwaukee pretty much has not failed in any way as far as jamming or giving mechanical trouble. It's battery power only. It is very loud, but the worst thing is it's heavy.
It is super heavy.
It's heavy. It'll strain your arm if
it's a little bulky. This part here. It's hard to get in tight spots.
Yeah, so, but otherwise it shoots every time. It's got tons of power, and I still like it, but it hurts my arm. All right, let's get to what I'm going to call my favorite, and this one is the lightest, I think. We didn't weigh them, though.
No, by a long shot, that's the lightest, though.
Battery and gas-powered. This is the only one that requires, so that's the con of this gun. It requires you to buy fuel cells, but it's very balanced. It obviously shoots the Paslode nails with no problem as far as the fit and the angle. Everything is perfect. I like the tip on it. It's got an easy adjust depth set here, which I really like. Oh, it's so easy, I can't even do it.
Yeah, that's mine. You're just used to yours.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So very balanced, lightweight, hook it on your belt.
That's the only one that we hook on the belt, by the way. That's the only one light enough.
Gets into tight spaces easily. To me, this is the winner, but the downside is buying the gas. So, I don't know.
Okay, good review. Appreciate that.
I don't want to brag or anything, but I got some pretty big wood. It's genetics.
If you haven't guessed it yet, this is the permanent post for the Loft. It's an 8x8 pine timber that was sourced from a local sawmill. We cut the post about 1/8 of an inch longer than our tent post, so we needed to jack up the floor slightly. To do this, we wedged in a 2x10 with a sledge, and it's amazing how much force you can apply with this method.
I feel a little safer now walking underneath this thing.
I feel a lot safer.
1 2x4 holding up the whole entire house.
That is looking pretty good for now.
Once the new post was in place, we removed the jackboard and checked for straightness across the loft edge with a string line. Next, Jamie and I started framing the stairwell wall, but instead of trying to calculate the exact length of every stud, we just installed them at full 16-foot length at first. After they're all installed and braced plumb, we can snap a chalk line at the angle of the stairs and clip them off in a straight line. All right, I'm good. Our handrail blocking. What's really important about it?
Number one, it's got to be flush.
Yeah.
If it's not, if it sits in and then you hit that bracket home,
bye-bye drywall.
And Jamie will get pissed.
So yeah, that's good.
That's like his pet peeve right
there. It is. Dude. We were just talking about it actually. Don't mess this up.
Seriously. I mean, I've been trying to get fired. That might get me fired right there.
The building code in our area is that the top of the handrail has to be between 34 and 38 inches off of the imaginary line connecting the stair nosings. So this blocking is installed below that to allow for the rise of the handrail brackets. That's really stout.
It should be pretty strong.
I've seen a lot of these where it doesn't run all the way through the ground, where it's like.
Yeah, we're lucky here. We're taking advantage of this deck band and the side of the joist here to actually attach it really well below the deck, and it's all hidden. You won't see it, but it'll be really strong, and it's
Is it
everything
plumb,
it needs to be. It's pretty plumb.
Okay.
It's just not perfect, but
It's pretty good.
it's not bad.
Yeah. That is a noticeable thing if all the posts are back and forth down the line. If you sight down the line, the line
Zigzag.
doesn't look good.
Zigged when you should have zagged.
Here's when you know you're in a small town. When the heat and air guy shows up and Jamie says, you know, I'm kind of related to you. How are you related?
Well, look, this is maybe not
Girlfriend's
really.
mama's
It's
soon to be
kind of
something or another.
kind of long story. An ex-girlfriend's half brother's mother's
Jake's
know.
stepmama.
Yeah.
And next thing you know,
It's-
you saying you're related to the heat and air guy. You know what I just realized? If you're related to him, then I'm related to him. Because I'm related to you.
Oh, there you
Oh
go.
my gosh.
No, don't worry.
Who is it?
That was an almost. That was my stepson's stepmama. That almost
It's
become
almost
Oh,
related.
oh.
It's
almost
almost.
become his family.
Yeah, it's not related. It's
like horseshoes, bro.
it's almost.
Another major piece of the framing still missing is the fireplace framing. This is going to be a ventless propane firebox installed in the corner of the living room. To get going, I built a raised platform for the firebox to sit on, and I got the dimensions of how big this platform needed to be from the instructions of the firebox, and it has some minimum clearances that we're following here. Next, I added some 2x6 nailers to the exterior wall studs and started framing a wall across the front of the platform.
What's this thing going to the ceiling?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I'm sort of winging it, but there's a couple things that I knew I wanted to do. Number one is I have a raised hearth for the firebox, and I have a raised hearth that's going to come on out here that's going to get covered in stone 2 inches lower, so that when they cover this with stone, it doesn't cover up the bottom of the firebox, which usually flips out to get to the internals. So if you do that the same height as this, a lot of times you can't open the flip open part on the bottom of your firebox, which is not good.
Yeah.
Or they have to like slope like a mortar joint down right there. It's just never good. This little firebox has a rough opening, just like a window or a door. I've got it written there because I kept having to look it up on my phone, which we're also filming with. So it's getting to be a real hassle. So we're just gonna frame in this rough opening. And then, like I said, nothing above this is load bearing or anything. So we're just gonna make something to nail something to later. Jason's installing some blocking here, and this isn't like fire blocking. I think it's more of draft stop blocking in the wall cavity. And then right at the height of that, we're gonna cover this whole thing with another sheet of Advantech, and that'll be our draft stop. There's no pipe on this one, it's just vent free. The draft stop made a nice platform to work off of, so I decided to build another section as high as I could reach, which would give me another platform to stand on and finish all the way up to the top. A final draft stop was added to the bottom of the ceiling surface because sealed chases like this are not permitted to be open into the attic space by code here. How was snowboarding yesterday? You feeling good?
I'm a little sore, bro. I ain't gonna lie. 8 crap toys. Pretty hard. I'm going down, all of a sudden my back end hit it. And those of you that snowboard, you know, you go from standing up to on your you know what in seconds. I mean,
Not even.
dude, yeah. I keep thinking I'm 20, but I'm really not 20 anymore, and my body feels it.
Did you get a new cover on your phone?
I did, yeah. I did.
that.
Some guy sent this to me from Hawaii.
Really?
It's a Peak Design.
Who would have thought?
All right, yeah, back to
looks good, though.
the building stuff.
Right. We're building a deck. A beautiful
No, we already
deck.
built the deck.
Well, we're still building on it. Right here, we've got our ledger flashing. This is an absolutely critical thing you've got to put in. This keeps water from going behind the bandboard, which would then rot the framing behind it and make your deck detach itself from the house. So that's important. Also, we're doing this kind of picture frame design with the decking, and I really like the way it looks, but there's additional blocking you got to put in order to make it work out. So you can see right here, we've laid a piece of 2x6 on the flat, we call it, and it's supported with some other pieces that keep it from bending down when you step on the deck. Now, if you're gonna put this on, you might realize right away that it won't go down because the little turn down section, which is very important, is not gonna go down past your joist. What I do is I take my skill saw and I set it at a 1/2 inch depth of cut, and I cut a little notch right here. Now, look what we got. See, this flashing goes right in here, no problem. This does not hurt the strength of the joist or anything like that. Structurally, if you don't do that, you would have to clip this part, the turn down section, off
over every joist.
Of each one of these. You'd have to mark and cut that, and then it actually could let more water. There's more potential for water to go under it. So I
think you're doing a good job.
I don't like that.
You're doing it right.
So here we go. There's how it should look. It'll drop right down in there, and no problem. Presto bango.
And we will zip tape the top of that as well, just for anyone wondering.
Don't worry, we got it.
We mentioned it before, but the base of this saw from the edge to the blade is 1.5 inches, which is exactly what that is. So it works really well.
Yeah, it's exactly in the right spot.
Yeah, so
you don't even have to measure
this
anything.
is a really easy thing to do, actually.
No brainer. This deck is 24 feet long. Typically, you would have butt joints out in the field on your decking because you can't buy decking boards that are 24 feet plus, I don't think anyway. What we've done here is we've broken it up into blocks of 8-foot sections with these dividing boards. They're just pieces of decking, and what it's gonna do is allow us to cut 8-foot pieces of decking in like blocks, if you will. And it's gonna have a cool design appearance, but the main purpose is to not have butt joints out in the field because they kinda don't look great.
Stop working. Put the saw down.
Here's the different screws we're using, and one thing about them is that they all have a different size Torx head. So we're tapped out here. We got T25, we got T20s, and we got T15s, and we're just rotating in and out of our drill sets here, and that's one thing to look out for. Make sure you have all the bits you need.
Yeah, they're like iPhone chargers.
Yeah, you
Not one works the other one.
No, it never works. Here's our decking we're using. It's a Trex composite deck. My pro tip here is if you can, and we are going to, cut off the last few inches. For whatever reason, when they run these through the factory, it's got this crazy whip at the end. I have no idea why it does that, but if you have a way to shed a couple inches, cut it off the ends and not the middle, we're gonna do that. These boards also have a grooved edge. We're gonna be using these hidden fasteners that clip into the groove edge like that, and then they screw down with a little stainless screw. And that's pretty nice because it gives a seamless look with no exposed fasteners. And I actually think it's faster than doing it with exposed fasteners because this spaces the decking for you automatically. And we're not sponsored by Trex or anything like that, but I do like this system. I think it works pretty well and looks good.
It's right at a quarter. That's what I'm getting anyway.
I need to change my statement on Trex.
Yeah.
I'm not sponsored by Trex, but I'm invested in Trex, like in stocks. Whatever that means. So please buy all the Trex products you can and put them on your house, right?
I think that's insider trading.
Maybe it's insider trading. I don't know.
I don't know if you can say that.
Okay.
We're trying to be as efficient on the job here as possible, not wasting time or creating struggles that we don't need to have. So we are not, I repeat, not using a chop saw to cut this Trex decking. Instead, we're using this awesome cut station. Now, I know what you're thinking. This looks like a piece of junk, but actually I've transformed these near worthless short pieces of 2x4s into an extremely efficient cut station that prevents binding, sagging, premature material breaking before you get cut through it. It does all kinds of things, all right? This thing's awesome. So I recommend you make one. It supports the material continuously everywhere. You can cut at any point in the board and it won't fall or bind and pinch.
So why not a chop saw?
Why not a chop saw? Now, a chop saw is great for making perfectly square cuts or miter cuts and all that. But in this case, the material is kind of heavy and floppy, and it's hard to move it around in such a way that, the chop saw stays still, right? So in this case, because of the type of material, it's actually easier to move the saw than it is to move the material. And we can make very accurate square cuts with a saw with no problem.
Using our speed square.
Just hold your speed square, zip, cut it right across, no problem. So I think it's actually harder and slower to use a chop saw. Maybe a slight increase in precision, but that's not even necessary because you're supposed to leave an 1/8 of an inch gap on the butt joints of these pieces of material. So there's not an exact perfect fit anyway. To me, it's a waste of time.
One last detail for speed and efficiency on this cut station is the way we're marking the length for our cuts. And it's pretty simple. What I'm doing is I'm just putting a tick mark at the number on the edge of the board. If I do it out in the middle, then I later have to get my speed square and draw a line to the edge to get my saw blade aligned with that mark. So I'm simply skipping that whole step, and then I'm using the saw and my speed square to align it and zip it square real fast. That's quite the move.
You like this? I'm just getting creative, you know. They don't teach you this in carpenter school.
I see why. Okay, we got 18 boards, 136 square feet we got to cover.
132.
132. Math on that, 18 times 7.5 square feet.
56, 126.
You know, there's always that one guy at work that just flies right in and does right what you were getting ready to do. I got it. I got that one. Right before you're about to do it?
Yeah, you. Especially when the camera's on you. You're like, get out of my way, my man, let me in here. I'm just curious if anybody's ever seen anybody put these in with 2 black eyes. I don't know if you could do that if your eyes are all swelled up. I didn't know if you'd be able to find out, you know, where it goes on the board exactly.
I got it. I got it. Let me in here. Hey, that's a wrap on our framing and our decking. So we're gonna take a few days and then we're gonna put in the windows when they come, if they come.
We can only hope.
Thanks for building with us. I want to give another thank you to our partners that have helped us get to here. Jennings Builder Supply, Huber, makers of Advantech and ZipSystem, Sashco with Big Stretch and Lexel, Howells Pro, GRK Fasteners, Dewalt Tools, and of course Lowe's. Thank you guys. Nice job, guys.
Yeah, baby!
Another one in the books. What are we gonna do now?
I feel good about this one. I thought we were going to Disneyland.
Oh, almost. Yeah, we're going to Orlando. I think we're gonna go to Denver at Universal.
That's what you do after you win the big one is you go to Disney World, right?
I've never been to Disney World.
What? Dude, we're gonna take you to see Mickey and Minnie and Goofy and all of them, buddy.
We got Goofy with us.
Yeah.
He's already with us.
I think you're done for the day.
I can't see jack.